Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 19, and welcome back to the Holzer map. So we're at our new farm that we got, and this is, you know what, it's got a name. Is it here? Yeah. Oh, do I even want to try it? The Schwagerhof? The Schwagerhof? I know this is cow. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I always say, if you want to know how to pronounce a word, say it the opposite of me. Right, so everything is kind of rolling. You saw we got a second layer of hard manure on field 28. That was, I didn't know if either of them would take any manure. Field 29 took a first layer. Field 28 already had one layer, and then it took a second layer. So we've got two on here, one on here. This is going to be all we can put on here. It won't take any more because it's fully grown. So let's get in our mower. I gotta like, in the interest of disclosure, I will tell you it's kind of a weird day for me. I got some news, so I'm a little bit scattered, a little bit flustered, not entirely unheard of. Selected work mode. I want. How do we change our work mode? Is it here? Work mode. I think it may need to be unfolded. Let's unfold it and see if we can get those guards up, because we don't want to swath. Toggle work mode, that's what we want. Toggle work mode, there we go. We want left swath, right swath, wide spreading. That's what we want. Beautiful. You know what, let's do this other field first. Let's do this other field first, because I need to be sure that we can even fit all of our equipment in there. I know we can fit this in. I know we can fit our tedder in. I really don't know if we can get our rake through this hole in the fence. And there's no other, as far as I know, there's no other way to get into this field. Oh, frame rate. Where'd you go? Where'd you disappear to? Come back. So, you see what I mean? It's going to be tricky to get that rake through here. It's kind of a long piece. Where do we want to start? Let's start right here. Let's start right here. Back up. Back up, I said. There you go. Well, let's see how far back in the corner we can get here. So yeah, bit of a weird day. Thursday for me. You're going to see this on Friday. I've been spamming you a little bit. I know I have. I hope you don't mind. Right, mower on. I love all the animations on this thing. Mower down. Cruise control is set. We're in the right gear. Here we go. So yeah, I've been spamming you a little bit. You know, is it Newston? Yeah, Newston. K-N-U-S. I think I even spelled it wrong in the video yesterday. I didn't just say it wrong, I spelled it wrong too. K-N-U-S-T-O-N, Newston. Yeah. It's a fun map. It's different, and I lost my save game a couple of times. That's always fun. You know, you go to save the game. I don't know if this has happened to you yet. You go to save the game, it just spins and spins and spins till finally you have to Control-Alt-Delete out of the game, right? Go to your task manager and kill the process. And then when you go back in, it's not just that it didn't save the game from where you were. Like, your save game is gone completely. It does not exist anymore. Oh, game. And I tracked it down to, at least in my case, I think the cause of it was courseplay. And, you know, I always try to be respectful in my words, but if I call out a mod, or if it sounds like I'm calling out a mod, I'm not calling out a mod. It's a mod conflict, which is just as easily, you know, my fault the way I have things configured, or a setting, or whatever. There's a reason they call it a mod conflict and not a bad mod. It's a conflict between two mods. And when a mod maker is making a mod, or when a developer is making a game, there's something called monkey testing. And monkey testing is when you have a test crew whose job it is to be dumb, basically. I don't know how else to describe it. To do things that nobody would ever do. And the point of monkey testing is to come across circumstances or situations that you would never encounter in real life, right? Just to see how your product, how your software performs. So the thing about monkey testing is, depending on the product, you can, in many cases, even though it has to be sort of contrived, you can come up with like truly every possible goofball scenario that your application or your software could ever encounter in real life. But when you get into modding, I don't know that modders always have the ability, or in some cases even the interest in doing that kind of testing. So in FS19, I think a good example, I used drive control, more realistic course play, gearbox, and the terrain control mods, or the dirt control mods. And when you went to the Reddits, when you went to the GitHub and found various comments and things about those mods, you would see a lot of discussion about how they work together, right? Because those are the kinds of mods that a person who is typically running one, right, would very likely be running a bunch of them. And so the mod makers for all of them sort of collaborated. Okay, cool. Then you get into something else, and if you have like some obscure, German manufacturing script, pig food mixer or something, and you find that it interferes with, auger wagons, right? Chaser wagons. Well, who could anticipate that? Because, does it make sense? Am I making sense right now? I always ask you that. It's just too many things to test. So for me, the mod conflict that was killing my save games on Newston was courseplay, but that is not me saying that there's anything wrong with courseplay. It's just that happened to be that particular mod. But it didn't quite sour me, but I had done about 4 hours of work on the map after, both before and after the recording that I did yesterday that I posted today. I'd done about 4 hours work, and I had to do it again. And it's that same question. It's like, well, man, it's just farming. And it's like, yeah, it's just doing the same work twice. I don't know what it is about it that bothers me. I think it bothers a lot of people, because you hear people talk about losing a save game and how frustrating that can be. Well, just do it again. And it's like, yeah, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. I don't want to just do it again. I want to get my save game back. So so that was it. Like I said, it didn't quite sour me on the map, but it definitely kind of got my attention. It was a little something. Made me feel some kind of a way. And on top of that, Newston is, the best way I can describe it is industrial farming. It is not sort of like, we'll work on this field for maybe 7 or 8 minutes, maybe less, maybe 5 minutes. Then we'll go to the field next door. We'll work on that for 5 minutes, right? And then we'll move some equipment around, and that'll take 5 minutes. And then we'll get on our tedder and we'll come in here, right? So whether I'm recording or whether I'm just having a session, by myself and just farming alone off camera, it's, I don't know, it's not that things move quicker, that you get more done. I mean, you're still just driving a tractor. You're still just driving an implement. What the hell's the difference? It's different somehow in that industrial setting. It took me, with that massive John Deere planter that we had on our 8, it took me just about 50 minutes to plant that one field. And I have another one just as big to go afterwards, and then a little one, which is that little field. Oh, drop. That little field on Newston, I swear, is bigger than the biggest field we own on this map. I'm not exaggerating. So it's a different kind of thing, and I feel like, had I lost a few hours of work on this map, when I came back in to redo that work, it's possible that I might have found something else to do and done that instead, and then gone back and redone that work after. You know what I mean? But on Newston, it was like, no, we only own the 3 fields, and they need to be plowed, because 10% for fields that big, 10% buff is massive. And then we had to line them, and then we had to plant them. So it's like there's nothing else to do on that map. We don't have any animals. We don't own any other fields. We don't have enough money to buy any other fields. So it was just kind of a, you know, and again, there's nothing wrong with the map and there's nothing wrong with course play. It was just one of those things like, ugh, stab me in the back. And now I got to do all this again. So I did. But it's, at the end of the day, and I remind myself of this all the time, at the end of the day, it's a video game. It's elective, you know. It's, if it bothers me that much, I can just not do it. And you know what else is weird? I'm really tied up with iRacing right now. And in fact, I did a GT race yesterday. I've been doing the Mazda races. And I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think one of the things that iRacing is trying to do with that Mazda series and the fact that, carefully, the fact that they start you with all three Mazdas, and several of the tracks that the Mazda races move to are base game. They're free. And I feel like if you want to, you can do a couple seasons in Mazda and really get on a lot of the tracks at a race pace. Now, it's the Miata, so that car tops out, I think, we're at Daytona this week in the Advanced Mazda series, and I think on the straight, the back straight, on the high bank, in a draft, you can get that car up to about 130 miles an hour. And that same track in a GT, GT3, GTE, on the high bank, in a draft, you're going to be going 180 miles an hour. It's significantly faster. So the Advanced Mazda, I think, is a great teaching tool because you learn every track, but you learn it in a car that has perfectly neutral handling, right? Because the Miata is famous for being 50-50 balance. Very predictable on the understeer, very predictable on the oversteer. It's very easy to recover and bring the car back around if it starts to get sideways. And even though it may only sound like 20 or 30 miles an hour difference, to be on a track at 110 in the Miata versus 150 in a GT3, it's like the track is just going by slower. You have more time to process everything. And so I think the goal of iRacing is for us to be learning these tracks in the Mazda series. And there are people that's all they race. You know, people with 6,000 and 7,000 iRating, that's all they race. They love that car and they love that series, and that's all they race. But for most people, I feel like it is a Devo tool. And it's an awesome Devo tool. I'm really enjoying it. However, I'm spending a lot of time in it, and I'm really trying to kind of commit to it. I want to get good, and I don't know if because we're in week 11, and the seasons run 12 weeks. So we're about to come out of the Advanced Mazda season. You can just do it again if you want. Another one's going to start the week after, or you can go to GT3. You can do both at the same time, switch back and forth, whatever you want. So I haven't decided if I'm going to stay in Advanced Mazda or move to GT3. And as I said, it's not binding. You know, if you don't like it, you can just move back, or you can do both at the same time. But I want to commit to one or the other. I don't know if I've learned the tracks well enough. Why am I mentioning that? Because I'm spending quite a bit of time in iRacing, and I don't know if I have really any time for anything else, but I'm kind of feeling the tug of the Division. I kind of want to play the Division again. I kind of want to play the Division 2. I don't know if they patched it up. The game's been out for a few months now, right? I don't know if they've patched it up it might be like 1.3, 1.2. Figure there was a day one patch, and then a couple weeks later there was bug fixes, and now it's time to like really get into the nuts and bolts of finishing the game and getting all the things in there that they wanted on day one that they just ran out of time, as all developers do. I'm not singling out Ubisoft. But I'm curious how far the game has patched up, and what it looks like a few months in. And of course, the prices come down. I haven't looked on the Ubisoft store. They didn't release the Division 2 through Steam. It was Ubisoft store only. So I need to check, and it could be. I mean, if it's like $30 or something, it's almost a no-brainer at that point. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get it. But I've been really feeling the tug of the Division, and if I wasn't, all right, interesting. Seem to be missing some spots. Let's go back and get those. If I wasn't as busy in iRacing as I am, I think I would be, that would make a lot more sense. But I'm stretched kind of thin, and I feel like iRacing is, it's a different kind of buzz for me because you're racing against other people. And I feel like, I don't want to say there's something at stake. That's maybe overstating it. Really? Divot? I seem to be in a divot. Hang on. We're going to get this. But because you're racing against other people, I feel like it's more, I don't know, more exposed maybe. You know, you can't just be hit or miss. Even though they don't know me and I don't know them. I still just feel a thing. Like I want to take it more seriously than I do other video games. So I don't know if I'll get into that. And I own Assassin's Creed Unity, which I've played some of the Assassin's Creed back in the day on console, but I really don't know if I've ever played Unity. I feel like I would remember that with it being set in Paris, and I don't remember that. So I could just dive into Unity because I got it for free when they gave it away after Notre Dame burned. Still crazy to think about. Also crazy that was only in the news for like a day, and then it was just like, dude, moving on. It's crazy. So there's that. What else is going on? There's a little bit of chatter. There's a little bit of dissension about Assetto Corsa Competizione. The developers, which is 505 and Kunos, have released a statement that said, listen, the multiplayer is fine. It's nothing to worry about. And people were immediately like, were we worried? Why are you telling us this? And just that the announcement would come so close to release. And I'm starting to hear some people say that Assetto Corsa Competizione is just Project Cars 2. It is great graphics, mediocre physics, and horrible multiplayer. And people are not in multiplayer, and it's not matchmaking properly. And you know, the thing about matchmaking in online racing is you want to race with people that want to race. You want to race with people that race properly. But here's the thing, and I feel like there's no way to get around this. It's only ever going to be a video game. People are never going to worry as much about crashing in a video game as they do in real life because there's no money at stake other than possibly the money that you can win in some of the really high series in iRacing. But you're not going to wreck your car, and there's no possibility of you being hurt or killed. So people are never going to take it as seriously. They're just not. And even at the highest levels of iRacing that I watch on YouTube, either as live streams or recorded races, you still see ridiculous pileups, turn one, lap one. And I think, hey, I remember that from rookies. Now, these are all much better drivers, and I understand that they're pushing harder and they're taking more calculated risks, but to qualify P6 and come into turn one on lap one, and there's just a big fur ball in front of you, and you get caught up in it, and it's like, okay, there go my points, there goes my car, possibly there goes my season. And at the higher levels, there are races that pay some pretty serious money. So it's like, okay, I really did nothing wrong there, but the possibility of me winning money this season just gone, just went away. And I know that's like real racing, and I know one of the things that, when iRating talks about their safety rating system, and if you're not familiar with it, just briefly, I'll tell you that if you make contact with a car, if two cars make contact, regardless of who does what, everybody gets a little ding on their safety rating. And that seems unfair at first, but when you reflect on it, or at least when I reflect on it, when I sort of try to break it down and analyze it, it's not perfect, but it is very likely the best system and the best way to do it. So that's the system they went with, but if there's contact between two cars, you get dinged, and one of the things they talk about is, part of being a race driver is knowing how to stay out of trouble. And so when you get caught up in an accident, turn one, lap one, I'm not willing to go so far as to say, well, that's your fault. There are some accidents that are just unavoidable, and they are not your fault. You had nothing to do with it. But I know for me, I race for safety rating now. My I rating is fairly low, but my safety rating is always at or above as high as it can get. And how can it be above as high as it can get? The highest you can have is 4.99. If you have 4.99 and you get good safety rating added, it counts invisibly. You stay at 4.99 on screen, but behind the scenes, the code is still counting you up over 4.99. So there have been times when my safety rating is 4.99 on screen, but a virtual 5.75. I race for safety rating rather than I rating. My I rating is not as high as it could be. I don't take that many chances, but I like that when I'm racing and people see my stats, they know I'm an extremely safe driver. And I know some people take advantage of that, but that's okay. That's okay. My I rating will come up when the time is right, but in the meantime, I will control my safety rating by being as safe a driver as possible. That's a system that works, but it's imperfect because some people just don't care. And there's nothing to lose. Have a bad day, pitch fit. Look what happened to Scott Speed. There have been plenty of cases of pretty good, pretty high-ranked iRacers that just had fit and rammed somebody and got temporarily banned and suspended and that sort of thing. You can go online. You can find videos of people in iRacing being intentionally, crashing people. So what? Ban me. So what? It's a video game. It's not, this isn't real life, and I don't do it for a living, so ban me. Who cares? That's an attitude that you don't need many people to have that attitude to ruin it in any race sim. And so I think what we're seeing in Assetto Corsa Competizione right now is 505 and Kunos dealing with the reality that a minority of people want to be very serious about this, and a lot of people, it's just a video game. And how do you essentially separate those two groups so that each of them can be your customers? And I talked about this in another video a long time back. If you just want to drive circles, if you just want to have fun in iRacing, that's a customer, And iRacing, the name of the company, the name of the developer, the name of the sim is all just iRacing. So when I say iRacing, sometimes I mean the sim, sometimes I mean the developer. But iRacing is a business. They need to make money, and I don't think they can afford to alienate people by making the game so restrictive. I've seen threads where people talked about the possibility that you could buy real insurance with real money. And essentially what happened is if you wrecked your car, your iRacing car, right, you wouldn't be able to race again until you got it fixed and essentially buy another car. Well, people look at that like, that's iRacing just trying to make more money. And in reality, it would be, at least the way this person suggested, I'm not saying it's workable, but the way this person suggested it, that would be iRacing trying to de-incentivize you from being a bad driver. So I guess what I'm getting at is 505 and Kunos right now, I think they are looking down the barrel of the reality that the better you make the game for the minority of drivers who want it to be a very restrictive and realistic driving experience, the more casual gamers you push away, and they spend money too. So what's a developer supposed to do? Because if we make this game perfect, right, for that tiny fraction of people that want it to be totally legit, we lose all those people that just want to have fun. And when I say they just want to have fun, I don't mean they want to go out there and be idiots. I mean they just don't take it as seriously as I do. And what's funny is I don't take it as seriously as other people do. I did a GT race at Belle Isle last night, which is a track that I've not spent a lot of time on. And I did go out and do practice laps, but I only did like 25 of them. And then I just jumped into a race with other drivers. Now, I didn't make any contact. I am a very safe driver. I'm serious about that. But I didn't have nearly enough laps on that track to be going out racing on it. I certainly wouldn't do that in real life, 25 laps. I would want more like 250 laps. And there are people that won't race a track until they've got 250 or X or whatever. All right, here we go. I'm watching my tail whip. Okay, we're there. Oh, that was okay. That was not nearly as hard as I thought it would be. Fantastic. So you see what I'm saying. I think I take iRacing very, very seriously, but then I do something like what I did last night. I did do practice laps, but not nearly as many as somebody else. So in the same way that people don't take the game as seriously as me, I don't take it as seriously as someone else does. Oh, almost hit the fence. This thing has it's got some weird swing to it. Weird swinging. So that is what 505 and Kunos are trying to sort out, but people are already grumbling and saying, what is this just going to be a Assetto Corsa 2? And in fact, I saw somebody say if you click out a full screen, I don't know, not the dialogue box, but like the title box, whatever you want to call it, on Assetto Corsa Competizione, it doesn't say ACC. It says AC2. Ah. So Kunos all along has been saying this is not, Assetto Corsa Competizione is not Assetto Corsa 2. But people are asking now, is it? Because Assetto Corsa came out in 2012 and I don't think it would be such a great game without mods. They do update it regularly. They do look after it, and the physics have been really improved since early days. It's a great sim. It's a great racing sim. And with mods, it's even better. But it's from 2012. And so when people start talking about, Assetto Corsa 2, the promise was, I guess, that Assetto Corsa Competizione would not be Assetto Corsa 2, that Assetto Corsa 2 would be a full, freestanding, standalone, independent title, because Assetto Corsa Competizione is just the Blancpain series, just the GT3, and Assetto Corsa Competizione, Assetto Corsa, just regular Assetto Corsa, is so much more. They have so many more cars and classes and tracks and other things that I guess what Kunos was saying was we will have another big game like Assetto Corsa, and Assetto Corsa Competizione will just be this very limited kind of other thing. And I saw a comment today that really kind of gave me something to think about. But the comment said, and it's the internet, I have no idea how true this is, how valid this is, but the comment was, this entire project is just advertising for Blancpain. It was paid for by them, right? They financed it. It's to promote their race series. And it's not a passion project. It's a sponsorship project. It's a money project. And I think, okay, where am I at with that as a gamer? Well, if it's a good game, I'm 100% with that. But I get what they're saying. How much passion can Kunos and 505 have about something that is just an ad, really? I don't know. I don't even know if that's accurate. I don't even know if that's valid. Oh, I got my thing lifted here and it's still picking up. We got a pretty bad jackknife there. I think yeah, let's just go ahead and finish this. We don't have too far to go. I think we got a couple more passes and we'll call it. So yeah, weird episode today. It's a weird day. It's a weird day for me. It's been a weird day. It's going to be a weird week. But, well, I mean, yesterday was the day I got the news. So yesterday was a weird day, but today is as well, and I think the rest of the week will be too. So it goes. So yeah, we're just doing some grass work today. Not super exciting. I'm a little scattered. That's what I told you when we got started. But that happens sometimes. You know what, man? If you're going to record a video 5 or 6 or 7 days a week, you gotta be real about the fact that some days you're just not going to be feeling it. And it's weird because I'm sort of always feeling recording a video for you, even when I'm not necessarily feeling a particular sim. And I don't know, I mean, Farm Sim, and in particular this Holzer map, this is very soothing for me. You know, if I'm having a day, this is a good place to relax. You know, and I hate to use phrases like safe space or happy place, because they've been so kind of twisted and made into ugly, hateful phrases. But I think everybody's got a place that they go to just kind of, you know, whether it's a man cave or local pub or Netflix or gun club, wherever. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got a place they go where they can just kind of, you know. And I think for me, the way that I travel, I think gaming is that place, because I can go to these places. I can go to a farm. I can go racing. You know, I can just go do hot laps. If I'm not even feeling, if I'm feeling too scattered even to race well, I can just go do hot laps. Go to the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, and just do some laps in an old Ford. Right. So I will, I guess I'll bail this off camera. You want to do that? Yeah, let's bail this off camera. I'll do the other field off camera as well. We'll bail this off camera, and the next episode we will, I guess we'll get everything on a flatbed and take it to, I'm going to keep these bales, I'm going to keep all my bales at the Unterreiterhof, because we got space there, and we've got the shed there that we already built for them. And I figure we're going to be driving our self-propelled mixer back and forth to this farm anyway. So if we have to drive it here anyway to feed the animals at this location, what difference does it make if we drive it here full or empty? You know what I mean? We could put bales in it at the other farm and drive it here, or we could drive it here and put bales in it here, but either way we're driving it here. So, you know, let's just keep all the bales in the same location rather than having them, you know, half here and half there. I think that makes sense. Straw bales I may keep here, because those don't need to be mixed, obviously. We can just drop those in when we need them. Man, that straw trigger, I was really fighting with it. I could not for the life of me find that straw trigger. And eventually I bought a blower, because I thought, well, that must be it, right? It's got to be, that's how to get it in there. And I was confused about that, because everywhere else on the map has bale triggers, and I couldn't imagine why just the straw at this farm would not have a bale trigger when everything else did. And eventually I did find it, but like I said, it's just a little bit wonky. Oh, we're not gonna, oh, whew. I was worried that after we got it in there so smooth and we got everything else in and out, no problem, that right at the end of the episode we would get hung up on a fence post, but we didn't. That's fantastic. All right, so I'm going to pull this back in here. Everything will be in order. Right, we got the mower up front, tedder behind, rake behind that, so we can now move on to our second field. I'll do that off camera. Set the brake. Is this a nice photo? Is this a nice screenshot right here? Not really. I'll make a better one. There you go, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 19. This is the Holzer map. We'll see you next time. Take care now.